Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. For today's video, we're going to be working on the 1987 Jeep Comanche. I'm going to install a whole bunch of parts on it to really transform the front end. You can see that the truck has a lot of wear and tear on the trim. I mean, it's pretty much to be expected for a vehicle this old, but like if you look here at this bezel, the paint's pretty much all worn off. It just looks really bad. So the headlight bezel, the grille, the bumper, pretty much everything on the front end is going to be replaced with shiny new chrome parts, and I think it's going to look a lot better. So with that being said, let's get to work. So to give you a background on this truck, I purchased it back in September, and so far I've really enjoyed it. My goal is to restore the truck to its former glory, and the first section I'll tackle is the front end. Almost all the parts are worn out and need to be replaced. Originally, I was going to replace everything with black parts, but when I saw these old ads of the truck with chrome parts, I really liked that look.
Now get 7.9 financing on two-wheel drive Jeep Comanche.
This style of Comanche will serve as inspiration for my restoration. So with that being said, let's start installing the new parts. So the first part that I installed was this new Chrome Grille. To remove the old grille, I removed all the bolts and it came right out. The old grille is faded and worn out. Let's see what this new grille looks like. The new grille fit perfectly. After I put all the bolts back in, I could already see a big difference. Next up were the marker lights and the headlight bezels. As you saw earlier, the current trim is starting to fade away. So let's remove them and put the new parts on. I started with the marker light. Look at how dirty it was. Next, I removed the old headlight bezel. I positioned the new parts and put the bolts back in. So here's before, and here's after. That's much better. I did the same thing on the other side and had no issues. So here's what it looks like so far. It does look a lot better, but there's one problem. The old bumper and end caps are in pretty rough shape. There's rust, there's chips in the paint, it just doesn't look good. So to go with the new trim, I ordered a chrome bumper, new end caps, bumper guards, and a set of fog lights. I started by unpackaging the bumper. Just placing it in front, you can see it's gonna look a lot better. So here's what it looks like underneath the bumper. I'm gonna need a socket wrench, and a couple of these bolts need a large Torx bit. At first I thought this would be pretty simple, but the old bolts were tricky to remove. But eventually I was able to remove the bolts and the bumper came right off. The next step was to prepare the bumper. First I needed to install the new guards on the bumper. That was easy. Now I also have fog lights for this bumper, but before we finish that, let's replace these worn out mirrors. The passenger side mirror is completely rusted out, and to make matters worse, it's cracked. The mirror needed replaced, but I wanted it to be the same style. It wasn't easy, but I managed to find these K-Source mirrors that look exactly like the original. So let's remove this old mirror. And here they are side by side. They look nearly identical. So here's before, and here's after. Now the driver's side mirror really wasn't in that bad of shape, but there were some scratches, and I wanted both mirrors to match. You'll notice this mirror looks slightly different from the other one. I have a feeling this is the original mirror, and the other one was replaced at some point in time. Either way, these new mirrors look a whole lot better. The last step was to install the new bumper and wire up the fog lights. I had help from some friends. The fog lights were wired up, and at last, the front end was finished. So here's before, and here's after. That is a huge difference. So my truck is starting to look like the one in the commercial, but there's something missing. Do you see this sports bar in the back? These were specifically made for the Comanche and are very hard to find. It gives the truck a more sporty appearance, and in my opinion, it really sets it off.
There's a new truck on the road. It's called Comanche.
I searched all over the internet and had a lot of trouble finding one. That is until I found one listing. A seller on Craigslist had the exact bar I was looking for. We arranged a pickup and I loaded it in my truck. The guy I purchased it off had this really cool 2006 Wrangler TJ. I had to drive quite a distance to get this bar, but it was completely worth it. Now something cool I saw on the way home was a brand new 2019 Camaro SS. It was the first time I'd ever seen one in real life. When we finally got home, we placed the new sports bar in the truck bed. Now obviously it does need to be bolted in, but I just wanted to see what it would look like. What's nice about this bar is that the kickers don't go into the bed. Instead, they rest on the wheel wells. There's a company that makes a brand new one, but the kickers go into the bed. I didn't think that would look right on this truck, and I'm so glad I was able to find an original. Eventually, I plan on getting this bar completely refinished. I plan on installing 2 KC lights on the bar, so I think it'll look pretty good. It's amazing how replacing a few parts can remove years off a vehicle. I honestly can't get over how much of a difference this made. It looks like a completely different truck. The new fog lights really make a difference driving at night. They fill in the gaps where the headlights miss. So this has been part 1 of the project. The front end looks a whole lot better, but there's still things that need to be done. The next area I plan to tackle is the interior. There's a lot of little things that need fixed, but that's all part of the fun. Pretty soon I'll get the bar installed and put 2 KC lights on top. This is just a render I made of what it will look like. I've got to say, I think the chrome looks a whole lot better. All of these front end parts are still being made today, so it was very easy to purchase them. But as I continue the restoration, I'm going to need to go to some junkyards to find some rare parts. Sadly, this is the state of most Comanches in 2018. Most all of them rusted out, and you hardly ever see them on the roads. The Comanche was the last Jeep pickup truck ever produced. That is, of course, until the new Gladiator was revealed in November. It's so great that Jeep is finally bringing back a truck. Jeep has such an extensive truck history, and they even mention the Comanche in their presentation.
Whether you called it a forward control or a Gladiator, a Scrambler or a Comanche, what you had was a Jeep truck. And we think it's time for Jeep to have a truck again.
It certainly is, and hopefully if this new Wrangler pickup is a success, maybe they'll bring back the Comanche. So what do you guys think of this new look? If you have any suggestions for what you think I should do next to the truck, let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for part 2 of the Jeep Comanche restoration. I'll see you real soon.